welcome to the backup. This is the part of the show where we deliver the news to you, and this is also the part of the show which is brought to you by Tim. As usual, the Back Podcast is brought to you by Hero Pocket Dear Tim, the Learn Programming Academy. Get your Tims out in the chat because the Learn Programming Academy offers classes covering the entire range of programming that are easy to watch for all skill levels, and they're almost all $20 or less. Head to lpa.dev/backpocket to download the custom Backpocket info guide on everything Tim has to offer and become the coding genius you didn't know you always were. And one day I will do that. One day I will become the coding genius I didn't know I was. Today is not that day because it's a very busy day. But if today was that day, I would absolutely let Tim take the credit for the unveiling of my genius.
Can I rewind and just say this isn't relevant to this segment now because it plays before the sting. But for anyone who's new or doesn't know that Pete presses the buttons here, I just realized how rude it could come off that you always go, and Peter, the news isn't going to break itself. And I just sit here like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'm here too. But Peter does press the button to go to that sting. So I do feel like that context should be like ironed out as well. Now we've done that. The awkward is done.
Good job. Anyone watching live in chat, let me know if you didn't know that or have ever thought that thought, because as usual, it seems like an Angus Ronald special of thinking something that literally no other human has ever thought of in their entire life. But that's
someone's got to do it.
Someone has to do it. And I'll tell you what else someone else has to do, and that is come up with the box art for Ghost of Tsushima Legends, because it is now being expanded into a standalone title. The post-launch multiplayer add-on to Sucker Punch's 2020 open world adventure will be available as a standalone product on September 3rd, 2 weeks after the director's cut of the original game will be launching on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. This is one of those things where I feel like potentially this online multiplayer thing more successful, Peter, than I was expecting it to be, or that I realized it was.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think maybe there's that. Maybe they see the potential and they would like it to be more successful than it currently is. They are, and I was talking about this with Shane Bailey on his show Magic Cast the other day. He was suggesting that perhaps Sony are very aware of the shortage of multiplayer titles that they have in their immediate future.
Interesting.
And to leverage their successful IP to turn those into cooperative or PvP experiences could be something we see more and more of going ahead across the next few years of Sony's kind of development cycle. Because we know that they do premium first single player games, first party single player games. Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely one of them. And aside from COD,
I'm trying to think. Yeah, what's a PS5 exclusive multiplayer game?
Yeah, well, I mean, Sega. What was the All-Star Racing thing? No, that wasn't even
Crash
exclusive to
All-Team
PlayStation.
Racing.
Crash All-Team Racing was.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, everything else is third-party multi-platform.
Yeah, so perhaps this is an attempt to flex their multiplayer muscle with something that they know is really cool, works well, and if they can market this as a more affordable purchase than someone who's maybe not interested in buying a big single-player samurai game, but maybe they're more interested in playing something with their mates like this, and then that could be a new way to funnel people into their single-player experiences as well by having these. Imagine Uncharted's multiplayer is a standalone shooter multiplayer. That could be a way to funnel them back across into their kind of single-player experiences.
Because this is exclusively, when it started as an add-on, it's a co-op multiplayer experience, I understand.
And
like from
I believe even the new versions are cooperative, but they're competitive cooperative in that.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to get my head around.
You're earning points playing cooperatively against another team that's doing it at the same time. So you want to do the best in whatever the mode is asking you to do.
I still have yet to pick this game up, and I'm really looking forward to when I do have the time for it. Like, it's one of those ones that's sitting in my back catalog. But I'm curious. So, I think, Pete, you've played a little bit of it?
No, I've not played any.
Nick?
I played the base game. I didn't play Legends.
Right. Is that because the combat system would not work with two humans trying to duke it out? Like it's a fight system that only seems to work against AI?
No, I don't think so. The combat's actually
Okay.
really good in the game. It's like a blend of Neo and but it's a little more approachable. Like it's not as
I wonder why they haven't gone for just a little arena one-on-one mode or anything like that as well, if they're saving up for that, or if, as I said, it's something that like just doesn't program well in terms of the fight combat's all been targeted towards, AI versus an ability to play against someone IRL kind of thing.
My understanding with that is that they just wanted to do something different, and that this has actually been really, really successful. From everyone I've heard, from everything I've heard, this is tons of fun. I'm really excited about jumping into this. I have been meaning to for ages. I never finished the base game. I'm going to go back to it when the director's cut comes out in 2 weeks, because this is on my list of like giving it another shot. I kind of just got a bit bored with it, but even before that, I'm actually really, really keen to check this out, because I've just heard nothing but glowing things about how much fun this is, and the sort of like co-op competitive thing is really appealing as well.
Competitive.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point about the lack of multiplayer. Is that Last of Us thing still coming? Do we know? I haven't heard anything about that. For a while.
I haven't heard anything in quite a while.
Because they are very much relying on Apex, COD, like everyone third-party things.
Particular.
They're just taking the clip of it. But
the car smashy game that is already fallen out of my brain.
Yep.
Come on.
Destruction Derby, whatever it was.
Destruction
no, it
All-Stars?
wasn't.
Destruction All-Stars. Yeah. There you go. That's probably the one they had, which, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the thing that people are like, this is all I play.
This is going to be my esport. As I say when I always find a new multiplayer game.
Yeah, so we'll see. They are in an interesting position because there's only so many third-person action adventure games you can put out. So the idea of like having any sort of other like bites of the content genre cherry is probably important. I think it's really good for Sucker Punch as well, like having this as a standalone thing that can be pushed. And they also say that they are going to be continuing to support it. Not only is Legends as a standalone product going to be the original thing, but it's also going to have a new mode called Rivals, which is like a horde mode thing. And it's going to have then a 4-week content rollout after launch beginning September 10th. They'll get 4 weekly content updates that include another Rivals map, a new survival map, a new version of last year's raid, and then offering challenges and like bite-sized chunks and stuff. So I think they're sort of testing the waters of like, if we start adding more content to this, how popular is it? And we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I heard about it is that the gear drops are amazing. Like the sort of like customizing gear and outfits and stuff is actually part of the huge draw of this. It's sort of got that Destiny vibe of like really outfitting your samurai to be super cool.
Yeah, nice. I mean, you say like it's a boon for Sucker Punch. I'm sure the Bethesda acquisition from Microsoft was a huge boost for every internal Sony studio.
Totally.
They're just like, suddenly they're very, very comfortable under the Sony banner of going like, if we need something, Sony's going to throw it our way because they need us now so bad. Great to see Sucker Punch getting a crack at doing something a little different. Maybe we'll see Bluepoint doing PvP Demon Souls style thing. Talking to your melee combat PvP, where I see what you're talking about with this game, where it kind of has like counters and like it's totally built to feel good to the hero single player, and maybe being countered against someone feels really shit as a player. Like, so PvP doesn't work
especially
so
considering
well with the built-in combat system.
Melee combat
Souls,
PvP needs to be like Dark Souls or For Honor or one of those kind of things where it's a really or Chivalry, it's like a really tuned system to feel like it's a cool push and pull kind of thing. So either way, this still looks heaps of fun. So
totally.
Maybe we'll be going back to the days where, remember, it was like when Uncharted 2 and stuff came out, it was just every game had a multiplayer component, and then we kind of moved away from that, where multiplayer was just not something. It was just like, stop putting your resources towards it, just keep making great games and only make multiplayer. And now it really feels a little more like your game is either a single player or a multiplayer game, and that's not what it used to be. Like every game had a multiplayer component. Maybe we're going back to that just for Sony, where they're like, all right, every title we have needs a multiplayer component. One of these is
multi-Spider-Mans. Let's do it.
Multi-Spider-Man. Look, multiverse Spider-Man, I'd do it. Someone in chat said God of War multiplayer would be cool. Reese, I agree with that.
Many sons in God of War. Boys, he says.
Many boys. It's just you run a boy fighting ring, and it's just sending all your boys out to fight other boys. Incidentally, if anyone has watched season 2 of I Think You Should Leave, Little Buff Boys.
I thought you were going to say The Boys.
It's just that. Oh yeah, right. That makes sense as well. But Little Buff Boys is the funniest thing I've seen in a very long time. So watch it definitely just for that. Okay, let's move on now. Something that Sony could swoop in on if they are looking for a dearth of new titles. There is a huge South Park deal that has just been made that includes 14 films and a new game. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the new deal for Viacom CBS's MTV Entertainment Studios covers the development of 14 original South Park movies that will debut exclusively on Paramount Plus in the States, and I don't know where here. And there's 2 films coming out this year, apparently. A multi-season renewal of the series through to its 30th season in 2027. And a new video game as well. A 3D video game set in the world of South Park. This story also got corroborated by Jason Schreier, of course, from Bloomberg, and he said that it's unclear who's publishing the new South Park game or who's developing it. The last 2 games, Fractured Butthole and The Stick of Truth, were both published by Ubisoft. I did see something this morning on Eurogamer where they said that the game would be an internal studio, but I couldn't find anything else sort of backing that up. Gus, South Park is a show that I feel like I have not engaged with as a property since The Fractured Butthole, and before that, sort of like maybe 5 years before that in terms of the TV show.
Yeah, right.
But apparently it's worth $900 million to get a bunch of this one. Are you excited for another South Park game, or is its time in the sun past?
Not at all. I'm totally I'm excited for it. I love South Park. I always have. I love how that show and how the property has evolved over the time and has the ability to continue based on the fact that it is continual commentary on society, and the way society changes, the show changes and updates with that. Whereas you've got something like, obviously, I don't know, The Simpsons runs out of stories and, you know, and starts being average by trying to draw parallels with real life. Whereas South Park is just unashamedly that from the beginning. And I am someone who's dipped in and out and back into South Park to see what it's up to in the show running sense. And I love how, yes, it's a disgusting show about kids being gross, but some of the storytelling techniques they got into, or they have in the last, maybe I'm going to say like 5 seasons, just shows the creators are incredibly ambitious and that they are restless, that they're constantly looking for new ways to tell stories or to share this community. And jumping into video games first and foremost was an interesting one. And Stick of Truth was great. I really enjoyed it. I played it the whole way through. I didn't finish Fractured Butthole, but I at least appreciated that they had a fun spin on it. You know, the whole thing of the kids playing superheroes when superheroes were the biggest thing in the world and all that kind of stuff. But then, you know, as I said, the games probably, you know, because their games could say less than the shows could about current, you know, political things or society and all that kind of stuff, and did turn out to be a little more fall back on the gross out humor of the original South Park stuff. But I'm excited in the sense that I feel like they're probably not going to make another, I think, I'm going to go and guess that they're not going to make a 3rd game in this kind of trilogy, and that they might try something totally new, in the same way that making films instead of TV shows, I think, is the creators going, hey, we're going to make new format versions of the show, in the same way that the show switched at one point from telling isolated standalone stories that would always wrap up at the end to they did, I think, 2 seasons where there was an overarching thread throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
It was real. And they address it in the show that they're like, things continue each week and things kept changing. And so the creators did that for a while and really enjoyed that. And then they were like, now we want to try going back to the self-contained stories, or we want to mess around with stuff. So I feel like these films are definitely going to be like it's streaming films the way we see them today, and maybe they just want to tell 1 hour episodes, or 1.5 hour episodes, or they have bigger stories to tell. So I think calling them films or movies in this case might be a bit setting them up for like they're making
more
14.
They're more like special
TV movies.
Totally, TV movies. Considering they made a movie as well, which they never thought they'd get allowed to make, and it turned out to be hugely successful and very fun and very clever as well. It's an amazing film still to watch, but I don't think they're going to try and make 14 versions of that. They're going to make different kind of episodes. And again, massive respect to Matt and Trey for being creators who are like, we will get bored, and if we don't change, we are going to become stale. But not for the audience, for themselves as creators. I have nothing but respect for those guys. So yeah, this is cool. I hope they do different things, and that the next games are very different as well. I think, and actually the final thing I'll say just super quickly is this kind of, to me, also sounds a bit like was it Rick and Morty got confirmed for like 70 new episodes or something through Adult Swim at one point, which sounds unrealistic. But it also, for me, sounds like it's locking down the creators through, in this case,
2027,
Viacom and stuff. Like, it's paying for the content whether or not they reach it or it pivots at some point. It's just a way of saying, here's what we have for you guys to make, whether or not. I don't know if they can change that.
Like, publicity-wise, it's like, we have acquired South Park for the next, X amount of years. Get your Paramount Plus subscription now. So it's like, that's kind of why they've made this huge deal. And you're totally right. Maybe we won't see 14 films. Maybe that contract has a little bit of give and take in it where, we'll see what happens in 3 years from now, reassess. But I mean, my relationship with South Park has been that, like, I was never allowed to watch it. I've seen a bit of it. But I've never really pursued watching it either. But I've enjoyed what I've seen of it. I didn't play through either game, but looking at it from the outside, it looks like a really good type of game to squeeze a South Park style story into it. You said you don't want to see another one of these. What kind of game do you think we might see?
I don't know. I know they felt like by the end of, or like what I could see in Fractured Butthole was that they were reusing the same formulas with minor spins on it. So I don't see them doing that again unless they are forced to.
I mean, it was a totally different combat system. Like, it was a different genre of game. Because the first one was was like a turn-based strategy game. But I know that the biggest thing that they had was that games take so long to develop, and they're used to very short turnarounds with their show, like a week. And so it just takes so much work to put into them. I think they'll probably just pick another genre and just do that. Like, they'll do some sort of, like, I mean, it depends on when it's coming out, but like parody of Fortnite or something. Like, it feels like something that they could do. I haven't watched South Park in a very long time, and I should probably go back and check some out, because I think that I hit a point where I was like, I feel like less. Some of the, like, a lot of the episodes I was watching were like, less you're making a really interesting comment on something, and more you're going for shock using that thing as opposed to critique of that thing. But like I said, I'm talking from someone who hasn't watched it for ages. But I did really enjoy both games. I thought both games were really, really fun. I think if they can come up with, I think the idea that they told really good stories and with very strong characters in them as well was super enjoyable. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know when this game is coming out as part of this deal, so it might be a while until we see it. But yeah, I mean, it's just a huge goddamn.
It's also just a delight in these two games. And you're right, I'm not looking for like a first-person shooter or something. I just, I want them to change up enough of it to be not just explore the town and a new combat system, I guess is what I was going with. But it is a delight seeing how they are at the point, being a very, like, kind of rudimentary art style. It's like that they can make it the exact show. Like, it is the show and you're in control of it now. And that shouldn't be as amazing as it is, but having watched the show for so long and then being in control of it, it's still awe-inspiring when I do it, to just be like, this is so cool to be the same angles and the same everything.
Because I remember how trash that 64 South Park game was. Like, it was fun.
Oh man, I bought that so too, bad. And I played it out of like guilt that I'd spent my pocket money on it, and was like, I can make this fun. It was built in the Turok engine. Like by the guys who made Turok, and it was like the fog of war was like at the end of your arm. It was
I was so well,
like It was terrible. Yeah,
It's one of those things that, like, I think that the strength of the thing is that you're going, like, it's like playing a South Park episode. That's the point of the games. And so if they go and do something totally different, then it's like, why is South Park this thing? Why is it not just a new world that you're making? Like, it almost has to be the kids exploring the town, and they can go on a bigger version of what that is. But if it's not, it's like, well, this isn't South Park. This is just something else using a really shit art style. The art style only works because it's South Park. If any other game had this, I'd be like, ugh.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, God, the less we talk about that first-person shooter, the better. But I'm looking forward to when Back Pocket gets a $900 million streaming deal. That seems like something.
I think we're not far away.
I think we could do 12, maybe 13 films.
We're coming up
14's
on
a
like
stretch.
8,000 followers.
Yeah, there you go. That's there you
go. Yeah. When we hit 8,000, we'll make our first feature.
Yeah, if we get $1 million a follower, then we're nearly there. Okay, moving on to the another beloved genre of games and mascot game, I suppose. Team ASOBI, developers of Astrobot Rescue Mission and Astro's Playroom, are working on, quote, their most ambitious game yet. The developers of the previous two titles have launched a brand new website teasing that they're working on their most ambitious game. They're looking for new developers and programmers and all that sort of stuff. And they have no information on what the game could be, although there is a listing on the site that has, where is it? They're looking for an artist who can, quote, animate a wide range of cartoony and mechanical characters, props, and vehicles used in-game. So there is a chance that it's that is an Astro title. But Gus, you have played both of these titles?
Yeah.
And big fan?
I love this mascot, or how this has become a mascot now, outside of what it started as, which I remember there was like when the PS4 first dropped, there was like Astros were the little just mascots that they used to throw around. I think there was one where they used to, they were in a little room and they just ran around. It wasn't his playroom. It was just like a Astro kind of like UI that you could look at all these creatures and shake them around and be like, yeah, that's kind of cute. They didn't have the personality that they do now. And I feel like that is all down to these guys really fine tuning this as like an actual mascot through a game like Playroom, which was just such a love letter to the PlayStation and it throughout time. So
wait, you're saying that there were Astros in the PS4?
Yes.
Really?
There was the Astrobot mascot
was
before he turned up in the VR game, because the most recent one was Astro's Playroom, which was on PS5, and then there was the VR one.
Which
before that, the Astros
Robot Rescue.
Robot Rescue.
Yeah.
Before that, there was Astros as essentially just like there was a tech demo for something for iToy. I think it was for the iToy.
Oh yeah,
you could look at
it
a
may
room
have just
and-
been like some generic thing that they made for a poster for the iToy or something that someone was like,
I'm pretty sure there was one where you could
game?
look in a room and see a bunch of Astros playing or something.
iToy Play Astro Zoo?
Yeah, it could have been that. I just remember when I first went to the launch of the PS4 and they had it and they were showing off these little robots and they just weren't by any means... they didn't have the personality that they have now. Maybe it's not the zoo one, but I'll have to look into it. I've definitely seen them before. I'm not going mad, I'm sure. But yeah, the fact that they are now they are the Mario for Sony in the sense that like it is just such a great little mascot that has so much personality, and these developers have done such a great job. I think having to make a VR game initially was kind of like, you know, they did a great job of it, but I think they really flexed hard when they got to do Astro's Playroom. And so now I think that was almost the testing ground for them to say, like, we want to make our own standalone game that doesn't come bundled with it. And yeah, I have full faith in them. I think it'll be fantastic. Like, I have...
Multiplayer shooter.
But yeah, I love this little guy now, and I didn't think I would initially. And I think packaging it with the PS5 was you know, a stroke of genius in terms of making him or making it such a an iconic little
Gus,
little
you're
mascot.
totally right. It was the Playroom on PS4. It was
That's the thing.
Yeah, that was the thing, and there were Astros, and they popped out of the controller. They did all that stuff. You're totally right. Back in 2013.
Right,
Yeah, cool. I'm really excited by this. I love both of these games. I think that the only thing that I want to it doesn't even hold them back. It's just that they both feel like they were made to show off technology, and they did an amazing job at showing off that technology.
Yeah,
But it was like, it doesn't change that they're really fun and stuff, but it just feels like it's the greatest marketing exercise, I suppose, as opposed to like this game was made because someone had a vision for what they wanted a video game to be. It was like someone wanted to sell more VR
consoles,
and so they got someone to make an amazing VR game. I loved Rescue Mission. I love the Astro's Playroom, and so I would just like to. Hopefully, this is not what is coming with PSVR 2. Although it very well could be. I would like to see the ASOBI guys like untethered from the idea that we're here to show other developers how to use hardware, and instead just come up with like their own world. Because I do think like just as they do everything that mascot titles need to do, in that they're charming and fun and full of secrets and really accessible but deep. And I think that if they blended that out even further beyond the idea of, and it's all built around this VR title or something, and just like an awesome idea that they came up with, then that's totally what I would want to see. Because I just think, while I was really skeptical of, I think he's really cute, but I don't like the white mechanical look of everything. It feels like a tech demo. I think both games, when you look at them, you're looking at very cool tech demos. But I can't deny that Astro is the most adorable platformer out right now. So yeah, it's super exciting to me that they're getting a bigger...
I hope that next title is them getting to expand outside of that and give him or it or them some backstory that they get to have some fun with, that doesn't, as you say, become a glorified tech demo. Because you're right, yeah, the PS5 VR system coming out, the perfect thing again would to be put, Astro Robot Rescue 2 on it or something like that. But then these guys that just confirms that they are nothing but the people who do the best tech demo that never gets utilized in a future title. It's like, that's what they're doomed to be if that is the case.
Totally,
I think.
Yeah. Pete, were you a fan of these?
No, I haven't put any time into either of them.
I think it's one of those things that
Yeah.
I feel like it's not really your kind of game, but you would
Well,
really
it's tech
like
demos for two things that I'm not interested in at all.
Totally.
You hate that
Which is
controller, don't you?
VR, no thank you.
Yeah.
And the DualSense functionality, no thank you. So it's like...
This is why you hate it.
no
You haven't
incentive for
played
me
this
to
yet.
play. But like, no, I see how like cute they are and how many ideas there are. It's not just like, it could have been a really basic platformer, but there's so many different ideas in the little different worlds and stuff. And if you were a massive PlayStation fan, the idea of finding a PS2 and the PlayStation VR gun and stuff like that, like, it's a sweet little collectathon thing, which I think is really clever.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things of like, it's not necessarily your kind of thing. I think you would really like how they feel. I think they feel great to play. They control really well.
As long as there's no
you're
trigger resistance bullshit.
Oh, okay, I take it back. I take it back.
I love the idea that like we'll get to see them get Team ASOBI get full reign, and they go and do some like near automata bullshit with him or something, and they like they throw him into some kind of apocalyptic
inside with Astrobot like walking like
totally, it's the gritty God of War reboot, but for Astro, Robot Boy.
Bots.
So it's going to be a while until we see that. I really hope it's not just for PSVR 2, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's amazing because they really know how to make a fun playing game. Another title that you've taken a really fun game and then added something to it that, well, I'm just going to read what I wrote here. COD jumps on another trend, deeply disappoints Nick. I feel like Call of Duty have made it incredibly beloved and very successful battle royale, a genre I have no interest in, and now in the new season of COD, they're adding double agent, which literally a week ago I said, you know, these sort of like social deception games I just don't really enjoy. I'd prefer my multiplayer just to be like Call of Duty, and then bam, like 3 days later they announced this. Double Agent will feature 10 players, which are each assigned a random role, but a couple of the players are going to be double agents on the team who are tasked with either eliminating their fellow players or planting and detonating bombs across the map. Most players will play as operatives who have to discover the double agents, and then there will be one investigator who will get special clues to help determine the double agents and can put out wanted orders on players they suspect have already betrayed their allies. Gus, you and I are the COD people in the Back Pocket crew. Is this kind of game genre something you want to see in Call of Duty?
I'm not sure. I think I'm a little bit with you on this, only in the sense that I don't think it's going to work. Like, COD players don't have this level of restraint to all be given guns and all be put in a map and not instantly start shooting each other.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how it plays out as a round. I will definitely play it out of curiosity. I think a lot of people will at launch, but I don't see it having the sticking power. But I think COD knows that with a lot of modes it puts in. It's probably, I assume it's going to be a timed mode, and they use that to test the water because it's
definitely
10 players.
Like an incidental. It's just part of the 5th season of this year's Call of Duty. Like it is,
and I think they know slapping a big timer on it makes people go like, I got to play it now, because if it just becomes a new one next to, everyone's going to go and play your traditional modes, your free for alls, your dominations and stuff over this. I would say it's also one of those things that, like, getting 10 players in a lobby, I wonder if that's going to last. I like playing like Prop Hunt and some of the silly things that it has, but man, it takes like 20 minutes to find a match of that because everyone just wants to be playing traditional multiplayer COD. So yeah, I think I'll definitely give it a go, as I know you will, even though you hate these modes, just to see how it works. But I don't know if I see it lasting, and I think they might know that too, but we'll see.
This is another mode as well that they've kind of like Prop Hunt mined from Gary's mod, Trouble in Terrorist Town. And I saw someone call it out in the chat as well, Deluxe 98. So it's like, I think Activision COD I think they're doing the right thing by kind of seasonally introducing new ideas for people. Yeah, but it's the kind of thing I think that's like, it's cherry Coke, right? It's like, it's here for now, it's going to disappear, have a taste and go back to Coke main because you like that best. But it's really just to give the appearance of, hey, we're doing a bunch with your video game. We're really like, you just want the core experience. We're just trying to make it look like there's heaps of stuff happening, which I think is a clever way to keep your game running for the few years they needed to run between COD releases now.
And then, can I make a wild speculation about the actual game mode? That if I'm then wrong, people can look back on this video and
cancel
say
before release.
That would have been a good idea. I wish they'd listened to Gus's idea.
Yeah, please.
Which is the trailer, if just for cinematic purposes, is showing a heap of takedowns, which is if you do a held melee on someone's back to do these cool animations, which are like disarming people and that kind of stuff as well. I wonder if as the double agents, the only way you're allowed to get the kill on the other people is by doing one of those takedowns. And that therefore means you need to sneak up on them, get close to them. That means everyone has to have a proximity thing around them, versus just like the shooting and time to killing God is so quick that if you decide to be like, if you're the double agent, every COD player is going to see that as, well, it's me versus 8 and see if I can shoot them all quicker than they can shoot me, and the rounds would be over like in seconds. So I think if they do some interesting things with the actual gameplay, like make that the restriction, then it might have some staying power, and it won't turn into a COD just free for all the way that it should.
Your point of going, it's the least patient fan base of all time.
Yes.
And you put this sort of like slow burn mode into it.
And it's not even necessarily the player's fault. It's the game is fun to shoot. That's the whole point of the engine, is that it's fun to shoot.
Totally.
So if you put a gun in someone's hand, they want to pull the trigger.
Even the shooting bit in that trailer is two people firing wildly over each other's shoulders and missing each other. Like, it's a gunfight. I'm like, that's not what happens in COD. People are like, no scoping, thwack, they're dead. It's none of this kind of like dramatic cinematic shooting. So yeah, we'll see what it does to make it try and emulate that. I don't know if it can.
But we won't need to wait long because it's comes out Thursday here in Australia is when the new season drops. And like you said, it's just a little added bonus. They're adding 5 new maps and new guns and everything to it. But yeah, it is just funny where I'm like, these are the kind of multiplayer games I like, and then bam. It's here, but then if it does take off, I mean, this is what they did with Warzone, right? Like they just test the waters with a battle royale, see what happens, and then all of a sudden, it becomes one of the biggest ones of all time. And they're like, okay,
Nick, it could be your esport.
It could be. This could be my esport. This could finally be the one.
You love lying.
I don't like lying online.
Come back
I don't know what that's
him.
about. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I like
In front
lying
of an audience.
smoke bombing. Yeah, exactly. Like at the end of it, you're guaranteed to be found out. That's not lying. That's just short-term deception, and
that's
I don't like
delaying.
that. I like to lie for
I
life.
could get away with it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Very good, very good, very good. Moving on, and our final sort of wrap-up is a series of game delays. That have been
Wow, what a way to end it.
Which well, I feel like this is a headline that
the last 3
I have
weeks
not
we've had
needed to delete from the doc, and it's just fill out the new details of what's getting delayed. The first one we got, which is probably the most disappointing for everyone, is that the New World is getting delayed. Was supposed to come out at the end of this month. I think it was on the 31st. If there are 31 days in August, it's
30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, which has 28 days and 29 days in a leap year. What happened to the rhyme?
28. What do you mean? What happened to the rhyme? I just did it very quickly.
I just did it. Did you do it as well? And I just couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I think your mic was muted in Discord that whole time.
But yeah, so it's now coming out a month later on the 28th of September, and this was due to they came out and said feedback from the beta, the open beta that they had, or closed, I guess technically a closed beta, and wanting to make sure that the servers are stable and queue times and all that sort of stuff. So delayed by a month is not too bad, but it is the fourth delay, Gus, that New World has had, and they've a cumulative 17 months this title has been delayed. But just make it work. That's all you want.
Totally. Why put out an MMO that sucks? I think people are getting their little taste of it. The last kind of beta, people found that they really enjoyed it. So to take it away for a few months now is a good thing. Yeah. To go, let's refine what people liked, and
totally.
You don't know the Final Fantasy 14.
Shut up. Lily Spearman says the last phrase of that rhyme is so awkward it doesn't even rhyme. It doesn't even rhyme. The way I'd always heard it was, except for February, which has 28 days clear and 29 days each leap year, so it does rhyme. But
okay.
You have to.
I've never heard that version of it.
Wait, hang on. Rhyme it again for me. I wasn't totally listening.
Except for February, that has 28 days clear and 29 days each leap year. So
it's a stretch, though.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch.
It's a bolt-on.
It's more, even if it classically did rhyme, it's more that the cadence of the rhyme falls apart. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, which has clear.
Yeah, exactly.
But I had it said all the rest have 31 except for February, and it was like that's the one, but that's rhyming one with one. And again, the thing for me was always
let's do it right now.
We got to
30
fix
days
this.
have September, April, June, and November.
And
all the rest have 31.
31.
Shut up. All the rest have 31 except for February, which is really dumb because it has 28 days clear and 9 days each leap year. Just add dumb because it's a dumb thing. February's a dumb month.
But can I still? The reason I sucked at this is because you can forget the numbers and the whole thing still rhymes. So the important thing of knowing how many numbers in there you can fuck up. It's except for February, that's the one with 26 days in a leap year clear. And it's you're wrong. That always used to happen to me. I'm I remember the rhyme and the months. Who doesn't forget the months? But yeah, days, I was way off.
Yeah, and then you're 17 days clear? Is that what it is? Yeah, okay, cool.
Sure,
Look, the point is that the kids are stupid and they just need to remember, just get taught the numbers of the months and move on. The second delay that we're all fine with New World, I assume.
Yeah.
I was happy to sit and wait until this not only came out officially, until then their servers were worked out, until then they'd worked out the meta, and then maybe I'd come into it super late and be like, all right, time to dabble. Like, I was never diving in on this early, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
And I will say the only thing, and I'm happy that they're delaying it if they're going to get it right. But the only thing is, like, I was not really interested in New World until the closed beta started, and then everyone loved it, and I was like, oh, I'm really interested in New World. It's good. I only need to wait a month, and then bam, now I need to wait 2. But whatever. You have the rest of your life to play an MMO. The next delay is a big one. Disappointing personally, and disappointing from a broader sense as well. So this is Open Roads, which is the next Fulbright game, developers of Gone Home, and it's been delayed from 2021, supposed to be coming out this year, to 2022. So I'll
Except
start with
in leap years, where it comes out on the 20th.
of course. I'll start with the very petty thing, which is this is one of my fantasy picks, and so it's now confirmed to come out in 2022.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because I felt this was a lock for being good, and we hadn't, and it got there were some trailers that came out relatively recently, and it was like, oh yeah, this is definitely a 2021 thing, even though they haven't put a date on it, and then no longer. So that sucks for me. But it sucks even more for the people who work at Fulbright because of the reason that it's being delayed, and there is some real internal shit going on with the studio director Steve Gaynor, who is one of those sort of like indie wunderkind, like beloved developers, and but it turns out that Fulbright has a very, very toxic work culture, and as we've been seeing over the past couple of years, I suppose, but particularly the last couple of months, this stuff is becoming easier and easier for people to talk about and expose, which is really great. But apparently he's fostered a very, very toxic work environment within that studio, and has stepped back as the creative lead and manager on Open Roads, and so therefore they've sort of pushed the release of this game as someone else takes over and sort of like heads into completion with this one.
What an interesting position, outside of obviously not excusing that stuff as being terrible, and glad that it's been brought to light, but also like for anyone to have to step in at this stage of a game's production and try and get it to that final, like if it's clearly this close and being delayed, it's obviously almost to fruition, and then like to have to iron out whatever bugs are left and get it to release, I feel like is even harder than taking it on halfway through or something like that. It must just be, really awkward. So that sucks to the people who genuinely worked on that hard and who were,
Part of the thing that apparently 12 employees have left the company since 2019, and 10 of them have been women that have all sort of spoke about that. It from what I could tell, it didn't seem to be a sexual harassment sort of thing, but he had that sort of very toxic auteur style management of like belittling people, humiliating people, laughing at people's ideas, sort of like making everyone feel shit, and that was his way of like wielding power. And while he still remains as the head of the studio, he sort of stepped back on the active development of the game, and we'll sort of see what happens since then. But yeah, it sucks as well because like Fulbright were, and apparently Fulbright being one of those studios which attracts a lot of women to work at, because it tells women's stories, like like Gone Home, this Open Roads, like these are supposed to be like, hey, we're telling stories about like not just women but also minorities, like Gone Home's character is LGBTQ, that sort of thing. So pretty shit that this has come out, but we'll be seeing that game mid next year apparently. And from one toxic workplace to another, Blizzard are delaying the release of Diablo Immortal as well to the first half of 2022, following feedback provided by test participants at the closed alpha. They've tuning end game features, core features, and they're also adding controller support as well. And apparently all of this means that we're not going to see this game this year, and instead it's coming out next year. Pete, this is probably you out of the three of us.
You liked this, didn't you, Pete? You played it and enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah,
oh, that's right. I
didn't play it anywhere near to endgame. I played.
No, God, no. But I just remember
a couple of hours, and it was feeling pretty good.
You were surprised. I think you was a little surprised it was good. Like, I mean, not surprised, but we were all. Yeah,
no, I was. But I didn't get in deep enough to go like, the like are the mobile systems that are built into it for it to make
its
money
detriment.
awful, or I just mechanically the game felt really good on a phone with like virtual controls, and I was surprised by that. It was cool. All the abilities were built for that. I think giving it phone support is a smart thing. It'll just make it more accessible.
Controller support.
Sorry, yes, controller support. So you can backbone it, or you can use a 360 controller or whatever you want. But then it's just going to feel like an ugly version of a PC Diablo.
Yeah, totally.
But whatever. So yeah, I don't know what about the end game wasn't working, but you know, I'm not disappointed by this delay. I think it'll come out when it comes out, and I think it'll do really well in the markets that these mobile games really kick ass. So, you know, I'm sure they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, they know what they're doing with this game. They don't know what they're doing with how to run a company. So if maybe they fix that part first, then they can figure out how to release a game. And then the final game being delayed is Evil Dead, the game, which has been was supposed to be coming out some point this year. They'd never actually confirmed a date, I believe, but it's now being pushed to February 2022. They're targeting that for some extra time for polish and to ensure this is the, quote, ultimate Evil Dead experience you've all been waiting for. This additional time is allowing us to implement a single player option that will let you enjoy the game when you are without your co-op compadres. So, yeah. It seems like a pretty big thing to suddenly be adding to the game.
This has gone under my radar. I didn't even know this was being made. I love Evil Dead, and I part of me, I think, got this mixed up with the idea of, I thought this might have been a Dead by Daylight expansion or something. It's clearly not. Yeah, it's clearly not, but I think I must have read somewhere that it was co-op. I think maybe even Dead by Daylight. They've played with every horror genre, or every horror franchise, I should say. So I don't know if they've done something with them, but yeah, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, they're going, hey, it's a co-op game. It's a 4-player co-op survival kind of thing by all accounts, or by the looks of it. And the cool thing is they're playing with the medieval version of Evil Dead from Evil Dead 2, which is back in the Dark Ages kind of thing, which would be fun. But I wonder if that single player mode is then just going to be, are they stripping out the other 3 players and toning back the difficulty and just still making it the same game?
Yeah, I don't know. You would think. Well, I say this. I don't know anything. You would think it would be easier to implement co-op AI partners rather than completely rebalance and change the... Because, like, if you've got 4 people, you would think at some point there's going to be something that needs 2 people to do something simultaneously or in different areas in order to accomplish something. So, yeah, we'll see.
Oh.
But
yeah, Evil Spy Boy calling out, sorry, it was Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness, not 2. My mistake. Yep, very true. But also just seeing there that there is, like, looks like you do some PvP in terms of playing a possessed large brute guy. This is the first I'm seeing of the game, so this is like a live commentary of what Gus is taking away from it, so I'll shut up.
Yeah, I'd heard about this. I think I heard about this at the Game Awards.
Summer Game Fest.
And then Summer Game Fest, there was definitely a trailer for it
right.
As
That's
well.
what this footage is from. Yeah.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah. I've never seen
this.
an Evil Dead game, so I have no affinity. An Evil Dead film, so I have no affinity.
Really?
Yeah. It's just one of those
Nick,
things.
you need to watch the
horror.
first one.
I
It
just
is
don't
like
horror.
it is like one of the most classic horror films of all time. It is messed up. You need to watch the first one.
Yeah. Did he not hear me saying I don't like horror? But
He doesn't care.
He doesn't.
The point
care,
is that he
that's what it
doesn't care, Nick.
Yeah. But Gus, you can play this game in February 2022. And that is all the news that is fit to print. We've covered it all.